My name is Jalen.H. This is my week 7 energy presentation. I know we had a lot of different options on the prompt. The ones that I were more familiar with and the ones that I actually enjoyed taking the time to learn about a lot this course were solar and wind energy. Wind energy was definitely my favorite one, but solar I had some connection with as well. So I thought I'd combine those aspects and see what I could bring to the table. So I'm going to begin now and I hope you enjoy it. So the initial question is what solar energy is. I define it pretty briefly here, describing it as energy that comes directly from the sun's heat and light as the sun releases energy in the form of electromagnetic waves and radiation. To sum it up pretty simply, it's energy that we get from the sun through power. The sun does constantly release light and heat, and I do think we've learned how to capture that energy using devices like solar panels. That's why you see them so commonly on industrial buildings and homes and things like that because it's just constantly reliable. Sunlight is something that we'll never run out of in our lifetime, so it's something that can't just upright run out. It's also something that does not pollute or create contribution to pollution, so it is a reliable source of clean energy. The next question is how is solar energy used to provide power? I also summed it up simply saying to use solar energy as a reliable power source, there is a complex process involving materials that come from photovoltaic cells, generally made of silicon. We use solar energy in a lot of different ways. I feel like one of the most common is to generate electricity through solar panels on rooftops, like I mentioned, or in large solar farms. You could definitely think of them being on houses. I think one reliable way that people may understand those from like California or something like that. There was that big giant solar field when you're heading towards Vegas that was just there for years and it was like super bright to the eye. I think that's something that's like a relatable example. Solar energy can also heat water. I learned it could heat, not heat, it could power street lights. It could also charge small devices and it helps to run entire buildings. The energy produced can be used right away, can be stored for later, or it can be sent into a power grid. Like I mentioned before, it has many uses, and homes and industrial areas are generally the most common energy use. So, bringing all those aspects together, it's important to look at examples of solar energy. The beneficial side to solar energy is the range of possibilities that it provides to the general public and the everyday examples that make it relevant. Some of the most common examples include rooftop solar panels, solar farms, solar water heaters, portable solar devices, and solar transportation. There are also massive solar power plants that use thousands of panels to create enough electricity to power entire cities. It's pretty fascinating. So, moving on from solar energy, now we're going to talk about wind energy. So, defining wind energy, it's simply a commonly used form of energy that comes from moving air created by the uneven heating of the Earth's surface by the sun. Warmer air rises and cooler air moves in, which in turn creates wind. It comes from the natural movement of air and it pushes against the blades of a wind turbine, causing them to spin. The wind turbines that are seen commonly, just like the one when you're heading towards Palm Springs, if you're familiar with that, there's just thousands upon thousands that are used to bring energy and use that energy to power many things. It's a reliable source and something that's naturally from the earth, so it's something that won't run out and there's a lot of aspects to use it. I know that you can have it on land and you could also have it over the ocean, over lakes. So there's a lot of versatile ways to gather that wind energy. How is wind energy used to provide power? So I stated that wind energy is used to provide power by wind turbines. These turbines have extremely large blades designed to catch moving air, and when wind blows, the blades spin a rotor connected to a generator. These hundreds of thousands of turbines and their generators convert the wind into electrical energy. That spinning motion turns a generator inside the turbine, and the generator creates electricity. So wind energy is basically the power of moving air turned into electricity, if that makes sense. Like I previously mentioned, it can be land or it can be over water as well. So it's a versatile and reliable way to gather energy from the earth. So when we discuss wind energy, it's important to think about examples of wind energy. The phenomenal aspect of wind energy is that it can be so versatile and have plenty of variety for its practical uses, which include some of the following, like utility scale wind turbines, small residential turbines, offshore wind farms, and the most old fashioned one that comes to surface, like the one in the picture, is just traditional windmills. Um, some communities, I feel, even combine wind turbines with solar panels to make their own reliable and clean power systems, like the solar energy and the wind energy. They're both things that don't contribute to pollution and stuff. They help keep the air and the earth pretty clean. We're just using natural remedies and not remedies, natural resources from the earth to power things with energy. It's a bit different when it comes to thinking about chemical energy or nuclear energy, those type of things that can have effects on the earth. They have their pros, but they also have their cons. When it comes to solar energy and wind energy, they're just naturally straightforward from the earth, and they just provide a lot of good energy sources that help humanity and mankind. And then this is just a list of my references. I obviously use the book for my readings. Um, I use NERLO just to get the basic understanding of how to define solar energy basics and why they're reliable. The Department of Energy fed both into solar energy and wind energy. I also looked up virginiaenergy.com because I'm from Southern California. I wanted to see how other states get that integration of wind energy and how they use it, how it can look different in other places with different climates. And then I also used every image from stockphotos.com. Thank you.